This is Burda 7382. It's a basic pair of leggings with a drawstring at the side. Now the first thing you're going to need is about 1.5 meters of fabric. I ended up using sweater knit, although it is advisable to use jersey. You're going to need some cording. This is about 1.5 meters, probably about. Although I did use these instead, which is just some standard shoelaces. And of course your cutout pattern pieces. So the first consideration is how you're going to place your pattern pieces, and you want to place them so that they're on the greatest degree of stretch. Alright, so the next thing you're going to concern yourself with is the hemline of the pants. So what you're going to do is fold under about 1/2 inch, and then you're going to top stitch using a twin needle. Now with this step here, I didn't really follow the instructions because with knit fabric you don't really need to finish the edges. Also, I didn't like the fact that the, I guess you'd say the middle line of stitching only went down about 3 or 4 inches. So what I did was I pinned down my casing piece, and by the way I folded over at the top and the bottom, and I did finish those edges, but anyways I stitched down right down the center. After I stitched down the center line, I did a line on each side about 1/4 inch away from the center. This is just to form, I guess you would say, the casing for the string to go through. Then I took my lace and I strung it through using one of these clips here. Now with each pant leg I just folded things right sides together and then sewed up the side seam starting from the hem. Okay, so the next thing I did here was I turned one of the pant legs right side out and put it inside the other pant leg and lined everything up at the seams and then sewed along this curve. Okay, so I did use a serger for most of this, however you could use a zigzag stitch on your standard sewing machine. Then I took the elastic from my elastic band piece and I sewed it together. Now instead of making a casing for the elastic, I like to serge my elastic on or sew it on. You could do that using a zigzag stitch on a standard sewing machine. What I did here was I took a piece of chalk, I marked the front, back, and sides of the elastic band, and then lined it up with the front, back, and sides of the piece, pinned it all together, and then headed over to the sewing machine or serger. Okay, so this is what you have now, and what you're going to do is just fold it over on the inside and then sew along the top edge using a zigzag stitch or a reinforced straight stitch. Alright, so here are my leggings. Now these did not turn out as form-fitted as they could have been because I decided to use sweater knit. Also, I cut a size larger. However, if you want them to be form-fitted, you would obviously cut to your correct size and use something like a jersey.